Yo, welcome to another edit. I'm Pale Blue Wave. I do portraits of strangers around Portland. We have a stranger here that I approached, and we're going to edit some photos. They might be a little film-like, but probably less film-like than my usual stuff. This might be a little more classical. So let's get down to it. I've filtered it down to about 31 photos. So let's just start right in with an edit. We got a fire truck in the background here. This is in, I kind of missed the shot. I mean, it needed to be panned up a little bit. But we got the fire truck. It's underexposed, so let's just increase the exposure. I'm going to fade so for talking about doing like a film edit, we're going to fade the shadows a bit. I'm not going to, usually I'd go like hardcore, but this one, we're going to do a little less film-like. Well, maybe. We'll see what happens, actually. I don't know where we're going to go. But we're going to fade the shadows a little. Then we're going to push back up on the highlights. And it gives it a little bit of a film look. You don't want too much highlights, but that's probably a good start. She's wearing a very colorful sweater or jacket, so we'll definitely involve that. Bring down the mids a little bit for more contrast. This just goes straight into color grading at this point. We always use each individual knob here. So first we'll do shadows, which probably is going to be either greenish or red or yellow, somewhere up here. So basically what we start with is a lot of saturation in a random hue. And then we're going to use the balance function here. And if you increase the balance, you get less of that color in your dynamic range. So in your shadows. So if you have way back, it's going to be really red. So we're going to keep it pretty high, probably right around here, which is 82. It might, I mean, it's probably going to change, but we'll see. And then we're just going to move the hue around until we see it really hit. Like, where does it hit? So there's like, warmer colors, a little too red for me. I think we'll just keep it around here. And then what we'll do is I don't even know if we need to push a lot of red. Usually I push red in the mids, but this is already a very red toned photo. So let's just push a little bit and see what happens here. So I just push down a bit, and then we're going to adjust the hue until we see the mids where we like it. Probably right around here, honestly, which is very atypical. We're actually taking out some of the warmth by doing that. Maybe we'll do that, but maybe we'll lower from 9 to like, yeah, I don't even know if okay, that's okay. Very, very small change. And then highlights, we're going to think about white balance. So make these whites look really, really white. Right now you can see they actually look pretty nice. The whites look pretty nice, but let's just go down. Usually we'll go to like 321 or 231, I mean. But what it does is it sucks out all the yellow from the highlights. See, now it's a little too blue, but you can see the difference. When you push up, it gets really blue. You push down, it is very delicate. I think right around 4, and then you can click this button here to see before and after. You see it just sucks out all the yellow, all the warmth. A little too much. Let's go 2. Yeah, I don't even know, honestly. Usually we have to do that, but this one, the white balance looks really good. I'm even thinking about putting some warmth back in it. Yeah, I actually am thinking about putting some warmth in it. So I went up to yellow there, and you can see it adds a little warmth to her skin tone in the background. So I kind of like that. Now let's go back to our shadows and just see if we want to dial it in somewhere else. See, this is just gonna be very classic, I think. Let's scroll down to our, so we went -18 here, so a little more red, which I like the greens better, so we're just going to get rid of that. Let's see, before and after here. This is what we started with. You can see it's really red, and then after, it's definitely some green in there. Definitely a lot of green in those shadows. I mean, to counteract that, you just push balance up a little more if you want to look a little more red toned. So we went +15. Here's before and after. That's a little too red for me. So let's drop that down. 10. So here's before and after. That looks a little more natural here versus here. I mean, this is a little more film-like, I would say, with the reds bleeding or the greens bleeding into the shadows. I think it's a good starting point for the first edit. So here's the before and here's the after. It's standard, very we didn't have to do a ton to these. So let's just copy them. We're gonna get rid of all the transforms, even though we didn't transform. It's just I do that out of habit. Here's another fire truck one. I don't know which one we're gonna use. See, this is a little overexposed. It doesn't really matter. These don't have to be perfect. Here's a nice little close-up. These don't have to be perfect because this is just our first edit, and from this we will decide on what photos we actually want. You know, I didn't even touch vibrance, but let's see. Yeah, we'll push up a little vibrance because we want that coat to really stand out in the hair. You don't want to go overboard, but like maybe like around there, plus 11. And then in terms of saturation, I rarely ever touch saturation. But if I do, I go down to calibration and I use this. So I'm going to be able to increase saturation by primary red, green, and blues. And it's just a little more precise, but less precise than the HSL, where you can do it on a color by color basis. I do still use the HSL sometimes. Like if, let's say there's too much orange in the skin tone, then that's a good example of when I'll push down saturation on a single color. All right, so let's just push up the greens a little, and you're gonna see it actually pushes reds up as well. It looks pretty good. I kind of want like a lot of color. Usually I desaturate everything, but this one with all her colors, I kind of want more saturation in this. So here's before and after. You can see, wow, big difference. Big difference. Before and after. There's actually color. People complain because I never use saturation, but I just like things to look desaturated. It's just my style. I'm just decreasing the mids a little bit. I increased the overall exposure 0.06. And then, okay, that looks pretty good. Good enough for now. So we'll copy that and then we'll repaste here. Ooh, we screwed up. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. It's a little green, but whatever. And then this one, we're gonna have to rethink about here. It's very, the colors do not work on this one. Well, that's just, sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board when you have a new location. So we're just dropping the hue a bit. You can see the skin tone's really, really red. So I think it's going to be mainly the highlights. Yeah, this. So this is where we're going to use blue in the highlights instead of yellow. Right around here, and then push it up. Wow, the skin tone is still really red. I don't really know why. It's like it's really saturated. So let's just pull back on vibrance. We'll take out all the saturation. Let's just get this dialed in before we add any saturation or vibrance. So yeah, let's see. That looks okay. Maybe we increase the mids now. Man, crazy. That looks a little more like natural skin. Now I'm just looking at this temperature tint. Yeah, it's hard to say what's up with these photos. Doesn't look right. That's for sure. Let's just skip it because I don't even know if we're going to use it. So that one, kind of strange. Okay. But this should paste well. That's okay. Actually, it's good enough, actually. You can see I increased the exposure because it was a little underexposed. Now it's like overexposed slightly. These colors are pretty bad also. It's very interesting how it changed so much. Right around there. I'm just changing the hues now. We're changing the mids a bit. Trying to get some red back into the skin tone like that. And then let's see the highlights here. Yeah, I think that's the big problem here. Let's just push this down to usual 231. That's looking better. That's too much. Maybe like 4. No, that's even too much. 3. And then it's overexposed, so let's just drop the exposure a bit. It looks like the highlights are too high, so I'm going to pull the highlights down on the curves. That's looking better. Okay. That's acceptable. We're not going to make it perfect because the idea is just to get it close enough where we can make some decisions on what we want to keep, and then I'll do final edits, which you guys probably won't even see, but this is like good enough. We're going to get pretty close to what I'll end up with here. And you can see the highlights are just a little too... So much color. Looks good. Yeah, we might want to pull up these mids just a bit because her eyes are so dark. Just because the hair is covering it. See, now it's lighter. That's kind of a cool photo. This is like really anime style. This, I don't know if we want any fading in blacks. Look at, we pulled that back. Yeah, I think we're going to go traditional on this one. So like, we're not going to fade the shadows really at all. I just think it looks cleaner. So sometimes we fade shadows if we want that really film look, but I think this one, we don't really want to do that. I'm confused. Why is... Wow. That like barely changed anything. What the heck? Okay, anyways. Here's another one. New location. We could try to paste in, I guess. Okay. Kind of actually works a little bit. Actually kind of works. Let me just see this color grade because it's like doing very minimal work for us. Oh, you can see. The white balance gets better. There's some green in the shadows, but it's very faint. We can like pull down the balance if we want it more aggressive. That looks pretty nice. I just decreased the balance and then changed the hue a bit. Let's look at the mids here. Yeah, this we want to like push a little more red into the mids. Give it some warmth. Right around there looks good. And then I think we'll want to push highlights just a little more. Maybe not though, that looks pretty good. Oops. Click in, I'm changing it to 5. Let's see, before and after. Oh, yeah, that's better. Okay, so let's see. This is what we pasted, and this is second edit. Yeah, that looks better. That looks pretty good. That's kind of a cool shot, too. I like her arms out like that. Got a Sailor Moon jacket. Now we're just going to copy and paste that edit. This is underexposed. That's good enough. This will be... Oh, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that edit looks pretty clean, actually. She's a little red. But I think she might be, like, red in her face just because she was laughing really hard. Maybe for these close-ups, you can see maybe a little too much green in the shadows, but it looks overall pretty good. That's a good shot. Yeah, it might be a little too green on these. It's kind of an interesting shot there. Yeah, okay, maybe we should fix the green. It's just, I don't know. I actually don't know where the green is coming in. Oh, okay. So it's just like the saturation. I think it's the 50 if we just increase that on the balance. A little less haze, bleed over of this color into the, and then let's just into the shadows. And then let's just adjust the hue till we look at skin tone here, you know, before and after. So a little more red. Skin tone looks a little more healthy. And then, yeah, that looks pretty good. Yep, didn't change anything. Okay, so here's, yeah, this is going to be important. So highlights. Let's just push it up. That's too much, too much. That looks pretty good. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe like 228 or something. A little less red, yeah. Because right now I was at 231, which is more red. 228 looks pretty good. All right, that looks pretty good. So this actually copy this one, paste it on to the others that I was doing. See, it was all green before. Now it's just clean. Whites are really nice. The whites are very nice here. That's what we want. We want that jacket to really pop. So let's see, before and after. Yeah, way cleaner. It's a little too red actually, but we can fix that later. Yeah, you can see in her face it's too red, but at least it's cleaner looking. And we'll probably have to mess with the curves as well. Let's see this one. I think that looks better too, actually. Yeah, a little too overexposed, but before and after, yeah, it looks better. It just needs a little cleanup. The heavy exposure kind of looks nice though, not gonna lie. Looks a little hazy. We don't want to go overboard, but okay, yeah, this edit's way better. Yeah, before and after. Well, yeah. It's good enough, guys. It's good enough. Let's see. All right, looks good. Looking good. We need to adjust some colors on that one. We probably won't even use that photo. That's the thing. I don't want to like go too hard. Might not use that one either, because we don't know if we're going to use the photos, you know, so we don't want to spend like 20 minutes making it perfect. That looks okay. Okay, that's kind of a cool shot. The highlights need help. It's a little like over. The highlights are a little too bright probably, so we will fix that with the curves though. This edit looks pretty good on this side as well. I kind of missed that shot though. Let's see. So let's just try it with these curves. I'm gonna bring the mids really down so we get kind of a lot of contrast, and then you push the highlights up. Let's see, before and after. Well, it might be a little too much there. Before and after, yeah, you can see a little more contrasty. It's good enough for now. And then, yeah, guys, actually I will show you my final edits, just so you guys can see kind of what adjustments I make. These look okay. Skin tone needs help, just a little bit of help. It's a little yellow, a little red, and the brightness is off as well. All right, so there's 31 photos. We're probably gonna use like 7 or 6. So that's so I guess right now I will filter down to, let's try that paste on this one. That edit on this one. It probably, yeah, that's not gonna work. This is a little too green. Just going back. It's good to go back to your first photos. It's a little too green. Just gonna push up the balance a little bit. A little too much green in there. I mean, doesn't look bad. I mean, it looks very film-like, but... All right, guys, I'll be back with our final photos when they're all ready, and we'll do final edits. Okay. Yo, all right, we're back with final edits. So let's dig right into it. I got the final 5 photos we're going to use, and I'm just noticing I'm doing some remote monitoring. So looking on my phone through DaVinci, what it looks like on my phone, and just looking at the photos, they're really red. So let's fix that. Really red on the skin tone. So an easy way to do that would just go to your mids and pull back towards the blue a bit. And you can see it's already cleaning up quite a bit. So we can see before and after. And that might have been too much, actually. Too much green. Add back a little bit of red. And then the other thing is look at your highlights. 228. Let's try like 223. And that should also clear up some of the red on the skin tone. The other thing we're going to do is whiten the teeth. So let's go into masks. Sometimes the teeth look much yellower than they actually are, just due to white balance usually. So what you can do is just go into your mask, wait for detecting people to show up, and then click on the person, and they have teeth set here. Teeth. Create the mask, and then what you'll do is just pull down your temperature, color, until it looks natural. You don't want to go too blue, so, but you don't want it yellow. So we'll bring it down -10, looks about right, and then I'll drop some saturation also, just a little bit. I think we can also push up, a little bit of highlights. Brighten it just slightly, but they look pretty bright already, honestly. Maybe a little more down. 10, 14's too much, so maybe -12. That looks about right. Then you can toggle it on and off, and you can see what we did. It's a little too blue, maybe. Let's go 11. Okay, that looks fine. Let me just check saturation. You don't want it blue. Yeah, that looks good. We dropped it a little more. So before and after looks good. That's as good as it's gonna get, I think. Still think it's really red. So still very red. So let's go down into our mids again and just push it up more towards the greens. Might have been a little too much. And then maybe, let's see, 223. I'm going to try increasing the saturation just slightly on the highlights to get a little more blue. Well, that didn't work. A little more white in the whites. Let's bleed out some of that yellow. Oh, it's still actually really red. What the heck? You know, it might be the shadows if we just pull it up towards the... Decrease the shadows a bit. Yeah, that might have been it, actually. Let's go back to our mids and just drop it a little more red. Let's try that. That looks pretty good. Let's try decreasing. The mids a bit, bring back some warmth, and then let's decrease it quite a bit here. That looks pretty good. There we go. That looks really good. Looks pretty good. Let's see before and after from the start here. Before and after from the... Oh my god, bro. Yeah, that's way better. I need a little red back in it. Oh boy, just a little red back in it. Now, the skin looked a little yellow, so we're just bringing back a little bit of red. Now it looks red to me though. That's probably about right. You know, it's the highlights. We shouldn't have been so hasty with the highlights there. Need to add back a little bit of warmth to the skin tone. A little bit of red to the skin tone. This is probably going to be it here. Yeah, that was it. Okay. So let's check out our next one we got here. Oh, the fire truck one. Yeah, this one's way too green. This one's weird. Alright, so yeah, this one's way too green. So let's go in here and we'll push it more towards the red on the shadows. And then midtones look a little red. We just increase it a bit. And then let's check out highlights here. Highlights are adding some warmth. I think looks okay. Let's see, what did we start with? And here's where we're at. Yeah, we sucked out some of that green. Let's check it out. Exposure looks kind of crazy too, actually. I don't know. We'll see. The curve might be a little too strong with the highlights. Yeah, it's a little better. I'm gonna push the shadows a little more towards the red, but that was too much. There we go. Yeah, these mids, I don't really like the mids. They're just taking warmth out of it. Highlights look good. Here's before and after. That looks reasonable. I'm not sure about the yellow. Might be a little yellow. I think that looks really good. We'll stick with that. Alright guys, let's do this one. It looks like this is just a little too bright. Maybe. It might be perfect, but let's just try dropping it 0.4 here. Yeah, it was too bright. Let's drop it even more. Maybe like 35, 36 looks good. Let's try that out. Colors look nice. I think skin tone looks good. Overall, pretty good. A little too overexposed. Yeah, so that was just way overexposed. Maybe let's try a little more, pull the mids down a little, get a little more contrast. Looks pretty good. Still bright though, very bright. Okay, that looks great. So here's before, and here's after, more contrast. Bring the exposure down. Colors look good to me though, so we're good. Didn't we already fix this one? So let's just copy this. And we'll even copy the teeth, because the teeth need to be whitened on this one as well. We'll just paste that in there. Yeah, that looks much better. Let's drop the exposure a little bit. Just 0.5. Still pretty red. So let's pull back on the mids. And we'll pull back on the highlights as well. Now it just looks green though. It just looks green. Kind of screwed up the exposure, I think. That looks, let's try this out. That looks good to me. Oh, we gotta fix the teeth. Okay, so let's go back into the teeth, and it looks to me a little blue and a little green. So we can actually just push up the tint. It's not as green. Push up the tint towards red. Right around here. And it's still kind of yellowy. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. don't want blue, but you don't want yellow either. Here's before and after. Okay, it is better. Let's do a little close-up on them. Before and after. Maybe it just needs some white. If you just push up white sometimes. Let's see. Before and after. Definitely looking more white when you push it up. Let's push up highlights and then bring down the whites just a little. Also, shadows sometimes helps. But you don't want it to look unnatural, you know? That's the only thing. That looks pretty good. That looks good. Let's see, before and after. That looks pretty freaking good to me. I don't think we're going to get better than that. And I think we're done, guys. I think that's it. So those were my final edits. We're going to ship this right now. Thanks for hanging out. That's the edit. Hope you guys have a good day. Peace out.